There are a number of different ways how to make a custom 1x1x1 cube, and a lot of them are thoroughly described on YouTube already. For example, you can take a corner piece from your Rubik's Cube, cut it into the cube shape with a handsaw, sand down the excess plastic, and fill any holes with epoxy sculpt. Another popular method seems to be to build a cube from Lego pieces. You glue them together, cut off the studs with an X-Acto knife, and round off the edges with a scrap of sandpaper. These methods are great if you have spare corner pieces lying around, or if you're happy to put up with the size of your Lego pieces. My method, however, allows you to quickly make a very light cube of pretty much any size without using too much of epoxy sculpt or having to damage a factory-made cube. If you want to learn how, keep watching. To make this little cube, you will need a pencil, a ruler, a sheet of thick paper, an X-Acto knife, a utility knife, or a pair of scissors, glue, a little bit of epoxy sculpt, sandpaper, preferably 400 grit and 600 grit for fine sanding, and a spare set of stickers. Optionally, you can also have a Rubik's Cube, a caliper, a pair of vinyl gloves for hand protection, and some black spray paint. First, you need to decide how big your cube should be. Once you have your measurements, take a piece of paper and start drawing a basic cube template on it. I am using a brand new sheet of paper from my sketchbook, but really, any piece of paper will do as long as it's large enough and not too thin. You can even reuse one of the boxes that your Rubik's Cubes came in, unless you collect them, of course. When you have the template, take a knife or pair of scissors and start cutting it out. If you decide to use a knife, don't forget to put something under the paper to protect your table. Use a ruler to guide the blade to ensure that outer edges of the cube are straight. As you can see, I'm not using a ruler to cut out the little tabs because those will be hidden inside of the cube. Once the template is cut out, use the blunt edge of your knife to score the inner line slightly. This will make the paper so much easier to fold along these lines. Finally, apply some glue on the little tabs along the edges and glue the sides together. You should now have a nice little paper cube. Before you apply epoxy sculpt on it, measure equal portions of parts A and B and keep mixing them together for 2 or 3 minutes until the color of the substance is uniform again. You will be applying it in thin layers on the paper cube, and it really doesn't take too much time to mix more, should you need it. When your epoxy sculpt is ready to use, press it between your fingers to form a thin layer and apply it on one side of the paper cube. Use a knife to cut the excess. Repeat this process for all 6 sides. At this point, you don't need to worry if the sides are uneven or not flat at all. Just make sure that the thinnest points are still thick enough to support themselves after sanding. When you're happy with your cube, put it on a flat surface and let it harden for 24 hours. Since epoxy sculpt is very adhesive to wood, metal, ceramic, glass or plastic, I usually put my creations on a microtin bag. After 24 hours, the cube should be hard as stone and ready for sanding. Take a piece of sandpaper and start sanding your cube down on each side until all sides are perfectly flat and even. I start with 400 grit, and once I'm happy with the surface, I switch to 600 grit to smoothen it up. Then I use the same method to round off the edges and corners. Note that you should really be wearing a protective dust mask while doing this. As you can probably see, I also prefer wet sanding because it produces less airborne dust, and especially with the 600 grit, makes the finished surface even smoother. Once you're happy with it, wash the cube under running water. Let it dry and, if you wish, spray paint it. So here is the fully painted cube. I apologize for not recording the actual process, but I was doing it outside and overnight and I wasn't able to get enough light there. Anyway, I applied 3 coats of black paint on each side, letting it dry for 30 minutes after each coat. Now that the cube is finished, the only thing that's left to be done is putting on stickers. To do so, I like to use a blade to peel the stickers off from the sticker sheet and then position it over the cube. When I'm happy with the position, I use my fingers to press it against the surface of the cube and to ensure that there are no bubbles underneath it. I repeat this for all 6 stickers. And here is the finished handmade 1x1x1 Rubik's Cube. I hope yours turned out even better than mine and that you enjoyed making it. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to let me know in the comment section below, and if not, let me know why so that I can improve for the next time. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.